All right, so here we are. We got to this point. We've taken our notes. If you haven't taken notes, then I don't know what else to say other than just take the darn notes. Here we are. We've labeled our sides. Okay. We've written down sine, cosine, and tangent, and what those ratios are, how to create those ratios. And now I'm just going to take a look at what I've got here and write out the ratios the way I see them. Okay. And so the first ratio is the sine of A, where the person is standing from that vantage point, is the comparison of the side opposite the angle to the length of the side that's the hypotenuse. And in this instance, the hypotenuse and the opposite side are right here. They're labeled. So I'm going to look for the opposite side. The length of the opposite side, you can very well see, is 8. So I'm going to make that 8. I hope you can see that. I want to compare it to the length of the hypotenuse, and the length of the hypotenuse is 9. Okay, and so the sine of angle A, the sine of A, because we're up here at A, is 8 compared to 9. Right, and that's just a simple ratio. And if you wanted to do the math for it, I would, but I don't have a calculator handy. You would just divide 8 by 9. You would put in 8 divided by 9, and you'd get a decimal out of it. And that's basically how these things work. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cosine. And the cosine from here says we're going to compare the adjacent side to the length of the hypotenuse. And so here we go, comparing the length of the adjacent side. The adjacent side would be 6, right? And we would compare that to the length of the hypotenuse, which we already said was 9. And then you would take your calculator and type in 6 divided by 9, and that would give you a ratio. And I guess I can write that here. You haven't had a chance to do this, right? Or you may not know how to do this. So you type into your calculator 8 divided by 9, and whatever decimal that gives you, that's your ratio. The same thing holds true here. 6 divided by 9. And that's, basically what that says. That's what this little fraction bar means. It means 6 divided by 9. 6 divided into 9 pieces, or 6 out of 9 pieces. 6 divided by 9. Okay, and so last but certainly not least is the tangent. Okay, and the tangent says we're going to compare the opposite to the adjacent. And so we already know, I guess I'll use red for this. We already know, make a comparison bar here, that the opposite side is 8. And then we're going to say that the adjacent side we already wrote is 6. And now we have 8 divided by 6. And that would give us our tangent value, which is a number greater than 1, and that's okay. Sometimes the tangent is greater than 1. I hope this helps. I'll do a little bit more. I'm going to just keep creating some help videos as often as I can. I still have to move on. I'm going to do one more little exercise just before we get to a quiz on just this topic, because I guess this topic is pretty heavy. There was a lot of work entailed, and so just be able to write this stuff down. The next video I do is reminding you of what those values were before, right? And then we're going to go over here and take all of these same trigonometric values. Instead of using angle A, right, we're going to take a look as if we were standing here at angle C and looking out. Okay, so let's stop this one here and we'll get to a brand new one momentarily.